and good friend in real life. We have decided to read a book together. Tijana and I started the Philip Scale Book Club.
It's world famous. It's
It
world
is world
renowned.
famous.
Award-winning book club.
So we've read books before, and I feel like we've got similar tastes.
Yes. And as time has gone on, I feel like
But
there
there's
are things
definite
we're like
crossovers. I don't think that all of our favourites are combined,
No,
but books we feel positive about are the same, and books we feel negative about tend to be the same.
Yes.
We've actually been planning to read Midnight Sun together
For a while.
for a long time.
We reread Twilight in a preparation.
And then we both saw Playing Bad
Heroines.
Heroines. I already had it and then started reading it, and Tia had borrowed it from the library.
Yeah.
We're like,
And I did a Goodreads stalk. I was like, I saw you started reading that in the library. We should totally talk about it. It's by Emily M. Danforth.
Emily M. Danforth.
She
I've never
also-
read any of them.
Me either. She also wrote The Miseducation of Cameron Coast, which I haven't read, but it's a movie with Chloe Grace Moretz as well.
And
Yeah.
I'm super excited. The fact that we're going to read it together makes me even more.
I know, and I'm like, books are such a big part of my life. Like, I read every day. Like, that's my thing. I read a lot. It's my escapism. So like to full on read together. It's not just like a book club.
Yeah.
But I've done like the readathons online where they have like a live show, and I'm just like, maybe they'll read my comment. You know, it's gonna be a bit more personal than that.
And the fact
So
that
it's
it's
cool.
like, this is something I genuinely love doing with my time, but it's such a solitary activity.
It is.
So then to be able to do my solitary activity, but with a friend. We haven't come up with a solid this is how we're gonna run our reading.
You'll find out. Once we find out. I'm a bit sad though, because mine's from the library, and the first thing is this book belongs to.
I haven't filled that out yet.
And I can't. I'm also going to be using this book depository bookmark. I did search through all my bookmarks, and I was like, which one is the right vibe for this book?
Meanwhile, I'm self-promoting self-help publications.
And I don't know everything about this, but I kind of like going in not knowing everything. And it's like mystery, boarding school, gay. It's cold winter night, we've made some tea, and we're gonna read. So this is such a stupid problem to have, but being left-handed, usually logo mugs are made to face out that way. So if it's not on both sides, I'm like, okay, I guess no one gets to see it. It's my secret.
Cheers to you.
So I think it's too hot to
I think
drink
it's
yet,
too hot, but
we can still cheers.
we'll pretend. We'll pretend. Ooh.
Delicious.
We read the first chapter.
It was good.
It was so good.
Look,
The narrative voice is hilarious.
just very cheeky and witty.
What was the thing that you
Oh.
mentioned? Describing Charles.
In general behaving like the brutish, moneyed bowl of rancid bowels that he was.
What a phrase.
That was so
It's
cool.
so good. Also, there's cute little illustrations. There was one of a bee. I turned the page and I was like, I thought it was a bug. I like the footnotes. I haven't read many books with them, but I feel like these are adding and they're not too
Yeah, it's not
heavy.
like when you read non-fiction and it's like
some scholars
It's
may
just-
say.
it's just
Yeah.
funny comments that actually enhance the reading.
The only thing is, the symbol, the little asterisk, to find where it is this big. I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Every time it happens, we've got to the bottom of the page. We're like, where is the asterisk?
And I'm like,
It was a really good opening chapter. I
Yeah.
felt like it told you exactly what this kind of setup is.
it set the tone really well, and it kind of told you straight away what's going to happen, and then kind of stretched out how and why, and I'm like, ooh.
And the fact that, we were both here having visceral verbal reactions.
Which is partly because there's another person to
And then Tijana
interact
reads
with.
a lot faster than me, so she'd laugh at something, and then I was like, and then 5 seconds later I'd be like, she's
and I'm
like,
like,
yeah, did
no,
you get to that
no,
bit?
no.
And I was like, yeah.
But then I slowed down because I was like, wait, what? And then I heard you laugh, and I was like, what's funny? What's funny?
It was a very good introduction to many characters who are going to be important.
So and also
good
what
introduction
the background mystery
Yeah,
that we're
yeah.
going to be looking at.
I just hate Charles so much already. But also I'm like, I've been told so aggressively to hate Charles.
But
So now I'm like,
so that's your perspective of Charles. And I'm like, no, probably.
No,
not.
he's
Charles
probably
is
just a scumbag.
He's just trash. And as we were reading it, even the first 2 pages. I was like, it's reminding me of Bridgerton, kind of like the narrator, where it's like, dear reader, I'm like from the outside judging everyone. Or even just before we got into the actual thing, where it was just these quotes, I was like, oh, where she's like, I'm not like other girls, but in a not annoying way. Yeah, and that first prologue like made me rethink like what the title means. Because I was like, before reading, I'm like, oh, they're plain bad heroines.
They're
so it's like
aggressive, they're fighting the
plain
patriarchy.
bad heroines. Like they're just bad at being heroines.
They're bad at being heroines.
Or is it like evil
normal
heroines?
women?
I think it's both.
I have the biggest crush on Florence Pugh.
So, Flo. You just want to picture Florence Pugh. I don't know if we'll get to see them much more, because it looks like we're going to be jumping in time periods. I'm really interested to see how it all ties together. Like when it starts to cross over and I start to go,
I think it's set up the premise really, really well. Well, I kind of want to read another chapter.
Let's not late.
Do you want to?
Yeah. It's like I do.
Cool.
So I'm reading the book, I'm reading the next chapter, and I love this bit where it's talking about Miss Charles and Mrs. Brooklands were suited to this kind of intimate exchange because of the intimacy of their relationship. It was an intimacy known, well, sometimes deliberately or ignorantly misunderstood by their colleagues. In the language of the day, Mrs. Brooklands was a young widow, and Miss Charles was her devoted companion, her very, very dear friend, her confidant, her bestie, but like with benefits.
Good afternoon, everyone. The ACT will enter into a 7-day lockdown from 5 p.m. tonight.
Hello! So I got really clever and recorded our online meetings so that we could use it in this video. Unfortunately, my dumbass only recorded the video. So unless you want to hear commentaries like...
No. What? That's cool. Yeah.
I've edited down the footage so you can hear Tijana's thoughts on the video.
I'm still enjoying it, but I am kind of just like, alright. I kind of just want to, like, it's like the pacing is like slow a bit. But I think it's also because it's like you kind of have to stop at a point where you just can't keep reading. So I'm like, I just want to know. I don't feel like anything like crazy happened in this time, but there was just some nice like scenes. Like when we got to see the flashback of the principal with like her girlfriend and like their friends come to visit and I brought them like porn and I'm like, oh, but it's like tasteful. I remember Merritt sassing the director a lot. How he's like, yeah, we didn't think of anyone else. And she's like, yeah, except for the other girl. But also, if it's like a famous hot person that likes you, it's like, how could you not? But also I love that that book was Libby's book when she was young. And so like, and she had already written in it. So it's like, I know this book isn't real, but like I want to read it with all their annotations from the different people. Also, it makes me sad how the like servant family like doesn't want to be around them because they're like, ew, lesbians. When it was snowing so heavy and they're like, no, we don't need to stay, we don't need help, bye. Oh, the backstory about why it's called Spite Manor, I was like, that is so petty. Which on the one hand, I'm like, that's funny, but I'm also like, really? You would do that, you would stoop. They're like, fine, I'll just ruin your view. So I think some shit's gonna have to go down in Spite Manor. I think it's gonna have to like live up to its name again. Also, I liked that they're at the restaurant and like Harper rocks up late and just like orders off menu and she's like, wow, she's so cool. How does she do it? I'm interested to see if Merritt's gonna keep pushing against like the Hollywood execs or if she's just gonna cave. Or if they're just gonna be like, you know what, you don't get a say anymore. Go away. Because even a few times Merritt's like, why am I here? Like, they're probably not even going to listen to me. Like, they've already, they're making decisions. I love you, and be safe. Bye! one better die. Alright, page 430, something really gross just happened. I can't. Right.
But given the situation that we now face, with a growing number of cases and exposure sites, acting on the advice of the Chief Health Officer, the government will extend the lockdown for a further 2 weeks.
I like that we got the story with Harold. Still wondering, I'm like, do you think Libby is bisexual or lesbian? Because like maybe she just had a bad experience with that Stephen guy, or maybe that made her go, men aren't for me. But maybe just I think she swings a bit more to women. I was a bit confused, that whole thing about like transferring the baby so it's his as well. I was like, okay, witchcraft? Voodoo? I think it's going to be some witchy, but it also might be like just witchy stuff that's not actually witchy. It's just more like spiritual. Yeah, and like there's no mention of like her kid anywhere else. So I'm like, okay, she must have just like really not been in that kid's life, or something happened, or Oracle Lady has the kid. Also, how creepy were the nesting dolls at the fair? Haven't been paying enough attention, but it seemed like each doll was like one of the deaths. There was one with like the lips like sewn shut, and I was like, I don't know who that is. Poor Alex, because we kind of get Alex falling for Libby, and then Alex graduates and Libby's like, I'm gonna just like go with everyone. Wait, did they break up? Oh, okay, because I thought they were like still like kind of together, but it was just like, you're away from me. You know, it's more like, it was probably like, well, I'm not going to be in the same place as you, so like, we'll keep in touch. Yeah, it's a bit ambiguous. Also, we finally got the answer to what Beau's up to. I think I'm excited to see what goes down on the movie set. And for sure, it's going to be like, Audrey's going to be like, oh no, and then something legitimately shitty is going to happen. She's going to be like, fuck. Like, we didn't do that. Do you reckon someone's going to die at the movie? Or I reckon someone's going to get like possessed like Adelaide did. I'm at the point where like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not like loving it, because it's like, we're still kind of waiting. So I'm really hoping that this last chunk is going to be like, and it's going to make all the setup worth it.
Cheers to you. Cheers to us.
Oh,
I am disappointed. I like the characters, but like all of these mysteries that have been set up, like nothing's happening. And we've got like 60 pages to go. Like this is meant to be the resolution of things happening in these pages.
I feel like we're just going to get to the end of the book and it was spooky just because we're not going to get any answers.
I was talking to Ellie about it, and like the way that this book itself is marketed, like if you look at that on the shelf, that's a horror book. But in further publications, there's been different covers and stuff of it. And I think that has been a smart move in doing that, because it's like, this is not horror. This is marketed as gothic. Like it's literally on the cover. It's not gothic. So I think that's been a bit of a disappointment.
If things were intertwined a bit better, I think I'd like it, but it's very long for what it is. And then, yeah, I'm glad we saw Ava, but also that just gave me more questions.
Why didn't we see her earlier?
Yeah, especially because she's got this whole like clairvoyant family side. I was like, that's interesting.
I agree.
And then like how Adelaide's like under her spell or something, and I'm like, what? Okay.
But I also like that she's read the Mary MacLean book, and she's like, I don't understand why they're all so interested in this. That's my pizza. I'll be right back.
Yeah, get it.
Pizza time.
We got pizza because we were trying to think of, we're going to finish the book together, reading it, both of us, in person during lockdown. So we're like, we got to find a Plain Bad Heroine's food. And we were like, well, we don't really want to eat bug-filled trifle. So there's a scene when they go to Spite Manor and they eat pizza. So we are now eating pizza together. But yeah, so everyone's been like, this is a demonic book, it's changing the way that women think. And she's like, no, this is just like a girl who's really obsessed with herself.
Yeah, it's just like a whiny diary. Yeah.
So actually, I kind of liked that it was like this subversion of expectations of like, no, this book isn't magic.
Yeah. Or like how we
just
found
is.
out that Mary MacLeod, like after publishing this, she kind of was like, oh, I take it back.
Yeah.
Lesbians are gross and wrong. And I was like, okay. And like, look, there happened a few like creepy moments, like with the bugs and the trifle and like the bath. I don't know, I think the modern day setting was too slow to start getting creepy. That it just kind of felt a bit jarring and like we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
I did like that the babushka doll came back around.
Yeah. And it was one that Ava made, is that right? With
Adelaide, I think.
Wait. So didn't Alex get the babushka doll?
Oh yeah, I think that, no, she didn't get it, but they were at that like fair, and this lady was like, "This one for you," and she was like,
So that was before
no thanks.
Ava was born.
Yeah,
Okay, now that doesn't make any sense at all.
yeah.
But I guess I kind of wanted more of that. We've set up all of the mysteries, now we get the resolutions of those mysteries.
Yeah.
We still haven't got the mysteries set up, so how are we going to resolve? And I don't know that we are going to get an explanation. I think it's just going to be like, it's a weird place. Things are unexplained.
I do love that, like, where they're filming the movie, though, that everyone's getting obsessed with, like, the hauntings and, like, trying to, like, get onto the set.
That is really
But
cool.
also, yeah, I hated that, like, Audrey's mum rocked up and she's like, I'm Ellie, surprise! And they're, like, watching her movie and she's like, great. Definitely want to come watch my mum's boobs.
That was kind of funny. I did like the reveal that they were all three of the main girls were in.
I was like, that makes sense.
You've got Harper who's producing, so that makes complete sense that she's on it. And they're using the same pitch on both Merritt and Audrey.
I felt a bit mixed about like the like threesome.
Yeah.
Because in some ways it kind of felt like it was just like out of nowhere.
I felt like it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
But it was just like over and done with really quick. I don't know. It did feel like they'd set it up that there was gonna be some like
something going on.
a little something between the three of them. But it was just very like, it was very tame. I imagined a lot more passion to be involved in this private moment in the woods.
Started. Yeah, like it didn't have to be super graphic or anything, but yeah, it was just kind of a side note.
Like I don't know if that's due to the writing itself or just due to the relationship that we haven't really connected with these characters.
Yeah, it's funny because like in the beginning I feel like I was connecting more with the characters. Like Harper talking about like her creepy uncle and like her family, and, like a mum being an alcoholic and a little brother. And then Merritt's got all her like worries about like what if I can't create anything again, like I have a lot of help, this, that, the other, and Audrey's got a whole complex with her mum. And then I just feel like they've gotten a bit stagnant.
It's just kind of like, that's there. It's just like, would you like some background information about these characters?
Yeah, I'm like, does this inform anything going forward? Not really. Yeah.
No, but it's like, it's not required. That information doesn't change these characters. Like, I guess it gives us an understanding as readers as to their kind of private motivations, but it doesn't seem to impact the story in any way. It is something I do still enjoy the way that she writes. I'm just not connecting with the story.
I'm just not as excited to like pick it up anymore.
No, I feel exactly the same way. I'm actually really glad that we've read this one together because I feel like my feelings would still very much be the same had I read this alone. But I'm really enjoying the fact that we've been able to kind of analyse a bit more in depth about the process along the reading journey.
Yeah, just kind of the theorize and be like, okay, is that linked to that? And then getting frustrated when it's not linked.
And then
like,
it doesn't.
What? Yeah. Also, I don't know what chapter it was, but it took me so long to figure out where the footnote was because the footnote was the chapter title.
I had that same thing. I was going back
So
page by page. And I was like, how did I miss this? Is it on the next page? No, chapter's finished there.
I was like, I'm so mad. Alright, shall we get started?
I think we should definitely get started.
It's gonna take some time.
So I just read queer and I was like, I'm triggered.
Yeah.
I can't read this book. Even though this book is like the definition of queer, I was like, no,
Yeah. You're like
not that word.
PTSD from queer. Okay, I'm done.
Oh my goodness, how quick are you at reading? I've still got pages to go.
I think I was just like, come on, read.
Well, that was a bit nothing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm so disappointed.
That last chapter felt like it was written by someone else.
We didn't actually get, here is the narrator. I'm very tempted to give this 1 or 2 stars. Because, like,
I
on
was
the whole...
going to give it a 3, but I think I'm taking it down to a 2. Oh, I'm so disappointed.
No, I was hoping at least the end would be, like, something really creepy.
And the whole thing of, like, they kept coming back to this metaphor of well, not metaphor, but the image of the yellow jackets. Like, it's been the one consistent image throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it just means nothing.
Yep.
I feel like, is there something that's flown over my head? Like, is there something I've not understood that I've missed?
I don't know, because we're on the same page, so unless we both missed it.
And, like, part of the thing that sold this book to me was the incorporation of the illustrative elements. And I don't feel like they added to the story at all.
And personally, I wasn't really a fan of the actual art
The
style.
style, yeah.
It wasn't, like, fun enough and intriguing enough. Or fulfilling enough.
I wasn't invested in the story at all. And then, like, those last couple of chapters where it's like, oh, by the way, here are all these things over here that we never told you about. I'm like, that's...
Yeah, like,
Not
that's
well
how
written.
the book finished, was like a chapter-long obituary for Elaine. And then, like, a mwahaha.
Adelaide.
Yeah, and then it was just like, red carpet, ooh, there's some wasps. And it's like, let's all be friends. And fuck Bo. I kind of wish Bo, like, died. That would have been super good.
That would have been a kind of cool ending.
Yeah, but it was just like, haha, I got
I mean, they
some.
did kind of hint at it. That
Yeah.
maybe that was how it ended. Like, with the illustration, how it had, like, the...
It would have been cool if Harper got stung on her yellow jacket.
That would have been cool. I wish the Yellow Jackets had more of a role.
Yeah.
Like, I
Or
don't
even-
understand the significance.
Even looking back, I'm like, even Audrey's mum, like, I thought more was going to happen with her mum.
Yeah.
But it was just that her mum was annoying. And even, like, their friends, like, Eric and Noel, like, didn't really come back.
I know.
Like, oh. Or even, like, is it Anna that Harper was dating?
There were just so many, like, extra characters that...
Didn't need to be there. Yeah, well, it's at the end there, it seemed like Audrey and Merritt are, like, coupling up.
Yeah.
Or at least getting really close. And then Harper's there being all jealous. And so I'm like, is
Why
this
did you
going to
not
turn
tell me?
into a throuple? Or they're all like, let's just be friends? Or like, let's casually just all date each other?
I wanted more setup and I wanted more answers and less
Mhm.
exposition.
And it's like, I get introducing characters and background. That's not necessarily plot important, but it gets you to know the characters. It didn't impact enough for it to be worth the
Yeah.
time that was spent on it. I wish there was more, like, we got to see that ritual with Harold, like the witchy spiritual thing where he's like, and we'll make it my child. And then it hinted there at the end about how he was looking for a vessel. And so I was like, okay, so what did we actually, what did we do to Ava? Is she possessed? Is she, like,
Yeah.
is it all just what, I don't know. I think it's just probably he thought, he was superstitious and then that's the end of it.
I feel like Harold was kind of just the means to an end. Because it was like, it wasn't really ever going to be Harold's child. It was more just them being like, we want our bloodline back to us. So they were like, hey Harold, we can make it your child. And he was like, bro, I'm gay. This is amazing. That sounds great. I can't have a kid. I don't know. I think going forward, Emily M. Danforth, it'll depend on what the story would be. I wouldn't read her book purely because it's her writing, but if it was an intriguing concept, I think I'd pick up the book.
I mean, I thought her writing was fine. I didn't feel either way particularly about it. Like, I enjoyed the cheeky narrator moments and some of the funny, like, footnotes, where it's like, could it be? And then it was like, it was.
But then, like, the whole thing of, like, where she's like, you're gonna know me so much better
Yeah, and I'm like,
by the time you finish. And I'm like, I still don't know who you are.
yeah. And not even in, like, a, ooh kind of way. Just like an, oh.
I'm assuming it's merit.
Whereas like
But
this
they've not-
insert of like Emily M. Danforth. Yeah, and how
Still
the
some
thing
funny
was like,
lines,
I hope after like reading this that you start like seeing yellow jackets everywhere. I was like, the fuck I do, no.
No, thank you. I
No.
do not want that.
Bug horror is not for me.
Thank you for reading with me. It was good.
thanks.
And I am looking forward to like future reads. Hopefully we'll have better experiences
Yeah.
in the future.
Fingers crossed. Please.